And we are live. Hi, everyone. How are you going? Steve Plummer here. Welcome to another Business Reinvented live broadcast where our aim over the next 12 months is to elevate 5,000 impact businesses around the world. And look, today's show is brought to you by Business Reinvented, where for a limited time you can get a special $1 offer. Go to businessreinvented.com.au. Cam will put that link in the chat below. So, Cam, a warm welcome to you today.
Hey, Steve. Hey, everyone. Great to be on the Business Reinvented live broadcast again. And today we're talking about something a little bit different, Steve. We're talking about clearing your mind and giving business owners, a better state of mind to be more productive. So you want to kind of kick that off a little bit?
Yeah, sure. And I think the genesis of this, Cam, it came from, it's a tough time, isn't it, right now? There's global uncertainty with COVID, the US election. It's really easy to get caught in a negative spiral. And the mind's a funny thing. We've got a groove in there of stress or negativity. It's easy to find it when things aren't going so well. And so, we wanted to, I guess, just give you some of the things that we've used over the years about clearing our head, being a clear thinker, because everyone who's done any personal development would have heard the saying that, money or success is made in the mind first before it appears in your bank account, So you've got to get your head straight if you're going to create success in the world and in business, and particularly in in challenging times like we've got now with all the uncertainty around. So, the other thing I'd like to say, Cam, and probably kick it off, is with there's this false, what I call a false badge of honor. I'm working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, and I'm pretty cool because I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's like something people like to be proud of, that they're hustling. I'm hustling and grinding. I don't know about you, Steve, but I never want to hustle and grind.
No, respect the hustle, Cam. Respect the hustle.
Never. I don't want to grind myself into the ground. Not at my age, not even when I was young. Much younger. So you're right, Steve. It's like it's part of a subculture of of people that like you said, wear that as a badge to hustle and grind and grind away and keep chipping away at those prospects and making 150 calls a day. But that's just wearing. It's only a matter of time, because you'll wear out of that pretty quickly. That's a draining activity.
Yeah, absolutely. There's this. I've seen a meme a couple of times this week. Going around the social media channels. I'll just read it out to you, Cam, because it really, I guess, it really summarizes that particular point of that beating yourself to death for your business kind of thing, or for your work if you're in employment. And it goes like this. It goes, we need, as in block capitals, we need to stop glamorizing overworking, please.
Yeah, that's good.
The absence of sleep, good diet, exercise, relaxation, and time with friends and family isn't something to be applauded. Too many people wear their burnout as a badge of honor, and this needs to change.
Yeah, that's good.
That really resonated with me, because I know, especially when I was in employment, but also business, I punched out 80 hours this week, and I was really, I felt good, but it also killed me in the process. I could brag to people, about, I really, really worked hard this week, and you can't sustain that as you suggested. So, Cam, let's delve into that then. What things can actually, no, before I get to that, I want to say the mistakes that I reckon I've made, possibly you, is we've drunk the Kool-Aid of the gurus, who some of whom promote that, like you say, get out, work hard, punch it out. There's work to be done. That's called work for a reason. Get out there and do it. And it is easy to to drink that Kool-Aid, and I really think it's a false god to worship as well. And you and I have said often that the gurus are always right, except when they're wrong. So if the guru says, oh no, get up 2 hours earlier, an hour earlier, you'll get ahead of the pack, and do these things in the morning, well, that's okay. But what if your circadian rhythms or whatever, you're more productive in the PM, in the afternoon and evening, not early in the morning. You follow what the guru does. You're going against what your natural body wants, So
totally.
So
so
if you like it, try it out, but don't gulp it down.
No, I mean, that's a great example. You'll see some people that they'll say you've got to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning. Now, my lifestyle doesn't lend it to that. I've got 2 teenagers that love to swim and they go swimming training or whatever. We're up 5 to 6 mornings a week at 5 o'clock anyway. I'm not going to get up at 3 o'clock and be up for 2 hours before we get them up at 5. It just doesn't suit our lifestyle, So you've really got to make it, for you about who you are and what you do. And another parallel to what we're talking about, Steve, about hustling and grinding and, the mistakes that people make, and wearing that badge of honor of saying I work 60 hours, 80 hours a week.
It's bullshit.
For most,
let's call that what it is. It's bullshit, right?
Look, because here's what I know from a sporting background, and for many people who have listened to us before, Steve, know that you come from a teaching background and I come from a coaching background. And I can say from a professional sports coach's point of view, and even being an adult athlete myself and doing crazy races like an Ironman, which is, the average person rolls around an Ironman course in about 12 hours. Now, I did it in about 9 hours 30 was my best time. So it's a pretty hot time. Even today would be a very hot time to go 9 hours 30 in an Ironman. But I was only doing a fraction of what my competitors were doing at the time. Again, they would wear that like a badge of honor. I rode 900 kilometers this week and I went out on the weekend and I did the whole Ironman race course and did the run off that. And they'd go and, do all these crazy things like ride 180 Ks on the weekend and get off and run 30 kilometers and be away for 7 or 8 hours for the day. But here's what I knew as a sports coach is that to do one race really well, you only need to do that once that time in that race. You don't need to do it every single week, you see. You've just got to build up to a place and then you taper off and you have a plan to get to that result. And you only have to perform on that one day. You don't have to kind of redo that over and over again. And I think, there's some lessons there from sport about recovery. Athletes are really smart. Smart athletes are really smart about achieving their goals and performance because they train hard, but what a lot of people don't know is they rest hard. They're just as conscious about their recovery as they are about their training. And even if you say lift weights and you're not an endurance athlete, you can't just lift weights 3 or 4 times a day and expect results because it doesn't give time for your muscles to replenish and to regrow, right? So the idea of weights is you break down your muscles and in the repairing process, they build up again. So it's that constant, yes, by all means, go out and, put in a good day's work and be very strategic about that. But you've got to have those times in your day, even slots in your day where you just pull back and have that recovery and that downtime.
Yeah. It's if your mind is continually busy because you're doing that, your mind gets tired like any other part of your body. But the other thing I think too, Cam, is that the flip side of that is the mind is also very strong, so it can trick the body for a period of time. Yeah. But exhaustion comes out somewhere in your health at some point, somewhere. Yeah. So, a busy mind that's all full of all these things you've got to do is not a great place to be. So Cam, let's talk then about how do we free up our headspace so that in business we're more productive, we're happier, we're calmer, we're more connected to ourselves, to family, to our client. How do we free up our headspace to allow that? Because that busy mind that's going, you can't do that, right? It's just it's tiring. It wears you out.
Yeah. So we've got a comment here from Queen Kimmy Tyson. Yes, work hard, play harder, recover, and relaxation are equally important, 100%. Yeah. So thanks, Queen Kimmy. Really appreciate that. That's really good advice.
Yeah, and I mean, it's that it's that old balance thing as well, you know. However, it's so easy to get unbalanced in work. You know, you've got all these jobs to do, got a to-do list a mile long. It's easy just to get caught up on that cycle, that hamster wheel of keeping that going. So, Cam, how can we free our mind?
So I think one of the most important things, especially if you're a business owner, is understand who you want to work with and actually who you don't want to work with. I think the modern day entrepreneurs, with so many different offers and so many bright, shiny objects out there, they kind of tend to do so many different things and want to do so many different things for so many different people. And that creates a situation of panic, because you can't be everything to everybody and you can't offer 100 different services. So, you know, in my life, I can only speak from my experience, but whether it's been a bricks and mortar business or an online business, I've always been very clear about who I want to attract, who I want to work with, and more importantly, who I don't want to work with, right? Because that then just frees you up to do one thing or two things really well, rather than being a jack of all trades. You know, I used to have a very old swim coach I used to swim with. He used to say to me, Cameron, you can be a jack of all trades or a master of one, but you can't be both. And what he meant was that if you want to apply yourself to a particular sport, in this case he was talking about swimming, you can't be a high-level competitive swimmer and then go and play football and then play cricket and then join surf lifesaving. You'll only be average at all of those four sports. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs make that big mistake, and they, you know, spread themselves too thin on time. That then spreads themselves too thin on energy. So my first piece of advice that I've learned along the way is be really clear about what your products and services do for people, what problems they solve, and then be super clear about who you want to work with. You know, who is your ideal client that you solve problems for, and only work with those people and design all of your marketing and all of your material around that buyer persona.
It's an interesting one. It's almost the antithesis of being an entrepreneur, right? An entrepreneur's is busy, got lots of balls in the air, right? And it can be hard to go against that natural grain of wanting to create and wanting to do new things and you know, try all these different things. But it's really good advice, Cam. The other thing I'd like to share too is that is the concept of downtime, thinking time, quiet time, and quiet time that's scheduled. Not just, I've got 5 minutes before my next appointment. There's my quiet time for the day. You know, I'm talking about something a little bit more deliberate than that.
And structured.
Now it could be you grab a cup of coffee and go and sit by the river if you work in an office, you know, for 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it might be. For me, it's going for a walk on the beach for half an hour, or sitting at the back watching the birds, you know, fly. That physical act of stopping, changing your scene and changing where you are has a really important part of clearing the mind and freeing the mind. You know, it's that change of state, I guess, in you know, those sort of personal development circles is what it's called. But I think the other part too, and it took a while for me to learn this, and it only really dawned on me when someone pointed it out. When I asked a mentor, you know, why are business owners in particular so busy, you know, and find it so hard to switch off? Because, you know, business owners, entrepreneurs, busy minds, a lot going on. And he said it's pretty easy. He said it's like this: 3 words: lack of confidence.
That's really good.
What he was saying was that the busy mind is always going because they're always trying to anticipate what's coming up next, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you step back, breathe, trust, and know that answers come within rather than without, and trust that, you know, you'll be surprised at the things that can happen for you in a synchronistic way that is flow, not force. And when you are more confident and trusting in yourself, it's easier to slow your mind down. Now, I'm still a work in progress. I wish I had that nailed and I could say, oh yeah, Cam, I've got that sorted, no problem. But I mean, I catch myself quite often, you know, just chill, just breathe. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, you can handle this. You know, yet I think we just get on that hamster wheel of busyness, busy mind, you know, frantic. When you get to that, it really is hard to think clearly.
Yeah. One thing that I talk to my two sons about is water. Water is very fluid. But although it's fluid and it's calming to watch, it can also be very powerful. It can move mountains. It moves boulders. It shapes continents. So you've got to be fluid, like water. Through life and through your business, and not be so rigid. And not be stuck in your mindset and what you're doing. So I think that's part of what you're talking about, having that fluidity where you can just let the flow take care of things, and that gives you confidence rather than you trying to force things. Because one thing I know from owning a swim school is that you can't force water. If there's a hole in your pool, it's gonna get out. So and down the beach, if you're a surfer, you can't change that wave. All that you can do is go with the wave, and then you get the ride. So that's really good advice, Steve.
Yeah, I'm a water person too. I love being near in the water. However, a guy you and I both know who's very successful, because the obvious retort to that is, well, it's easy for you. You guys live right near the beach. Well, I don't live anywhere near any water. What do? Well, a guy that you and I both know, Cam, his version of that is going out and sitting amongst the trees and talking to the trees and listening for answers from nature.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's that whole, like I said at the start, it's that whole deliberate purpose of changing state, going somewhere, being still, being quiet, emptying the mind, and letting whatever comes into the mind inform your next steps and moving forward. I think if everyone did that, and if the world did that a lot better, I guess it's a form of meditation, and you could even go and meditate and journal and all those sorts of things, but work out what works for you. But I think if the world actually did that and just slowed down, gosh, the world would be a better place, wouldn't it? We'd be happier internally, we'd be happier in our businesses, in our relationships, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's really good. Another thing that I've found that's been really helpful for me that people might find instructive, again, coming from a coaching background, is just having outcomes and not getting hung up, though, on if I don't achieve them. So, some people might call them goals, for instance, but just knowing where is it that you want to get to? Like, what are you striving for? And knowing what you strive for actually gives you clarity and gives you that confidence. So, knowing what is it that you want your business to look like, and then why is it that you want your business to look like that? Because it's not you want to make $1 million because you like the $1 million. There's something behind the $1 million, or there's something behind your first 10K as a social media marketer, or your first 10K in your new business, whatever you're starting. There's something behind that. What does that give you? Right? That's what you've got to get to. And once you understand what that is, that becomes your driving force and allows you to be, in a better space mentally when the world's going to, shit in a handbasket, because you know what your mission is. You know what your goals are, right? So the world can have a collapse. It can have another pandemic. It can have a global financial crisis. But if you know where you're heading and you know why you're heading there, you can be super clear and super confident about, your life and where you want it to go.
Yeah, I think just to finish up there, Cam, there's a really good question you can ask yourself each day, and it goes like this rather. Did today's actions get me closer to my goals?
Yeah, that's
Did
good.
today's actions get me closer to my goals? And I would suggest that everyone's goal is to be happier, more peaceful. And you can't do that when you're frantic going 1,000,000 miles. Now, I'm not saying you go out and lay on the beach and expect to make $1 million. Life doesn't work like that. But did the actions you take help you get there? And those actions might mean that you're not frantically working 80 hours a week. So what action help you get towards your goals? Is it more thinking time so that you can get more answers, so that you can trust life more and trust yourself more? So did today's actions get me closer to my goals? It's a really good question to help monitor that process.
Yeah, that's really good. Another little micro exercise, Steve, that I've found that works really well is breathing. I know it sounds corny.
Really?
It's like, well, we breathe anyway, but to purposely think about your breathing and to actually deep breathe from your diaphragm, it actually just changes. It does change the way you feel. And, again, I bring from my, coaching background, athletes that compete, they learn to deep breathe. You know, they learn how to exercise and maintain a rhythm with their breathing when they're doing an endurance event. You know, and that's a key component to performing in an endurance event, whether it's a marathon, you know, a long cycle race, an Ironman. It's all about the breathing, because if you don't breathe, you don't circulate blood around your body. If you don't circulate the blood, you're going to fatigue really quickly. So, you know, it's the same with work and business. So just take time out, you know, take that couple of minutes, work on your breathing, and you'll find that will change dramatically.
Just while you've been talking, I've been working on my breathing, Cam. Yeah, it does, you know. And it's easy for us to be all automatic with business. I've got to do the next thing, get to my appointment, I've got to call the client back, and but we miss those things. We miss the quiet time. We miss the breathing, right? And missing those little things does not lead to a happy, successful person.
Yeah, and if you've got to call a client, or you're about to make a sales call, or you're about to do a sales presentation, that's when you want to stop before you do that action. Take the deep breaths in. You'll clear your mind. Your body will feel better. You sit up straighter, and you'll be so much more empowered before you go into that call or into that sales presentation. Yeah.
All right, Cam, we've gone way over time today. We usually keep it to 10 to 15, and we've gone 15 to 20. So we could keep going on about this. It's interesting topic. So we might start wrapping up there, I think, Cam.
Cool. That'd be great. So if anyone wants help getting their own clarity and confidence in business, just head over to businessreinvented.com.au. We've got a lot of free resources there. And you can also reach out to Steve and I and have a talk about your business. We'll find out what you're doing well, what you're not doing well, and maybe there's some things that we can help you with. So just check it out over there at businessreinvented.com.au, and we look forward to talking to you really soon.
Okay, bye for now.
Cheers.